Coming up on Look Today, well, we have continuing coverage of the issue of invasive species in Lake George. I've got details. And South High Marathon Dance. South Glens Falls breaks last year's record, raises over, I'm going to tell you in a minute. More on that coming up. Plus, proposition to change the form of government in Saratoga Springs. Guess what? Most likely will reappear on November's ballot. I've got those details. All ahead on Look Today. Welcome, everyone. I'm Jay Hood Jackson, and this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program, I sit down with Sarah Craig. She's Executive Director of Cafe Lena in Saratoga, and she's here. I talk about an upcoming fundraiser called Invasion. Plus, I also sit down with Michelle Madigan. Now, she's Finance Commissioner, City of Saratoga, and she's here to talk about the issue of parking. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, we've got continuing coverage of the issue of invasive species in Lake George. Now, recently, the Lake George Association, in collaboration with the DEC, discovered a new kind of invasive species on Prospect Mountain in Lake George. Now, it's a new invasive insect that's threatening the life of some of the trees. The DEC is currently undergoing tests and evaluating the situation. Well, we went up there and we spoke to Walt Lender. He's the executive director of the LGA.
This goes after hemlock trees. There are other species. There are some insects like the emerald ash borer, which goes after ash trees. That was discovered in Vermont not too long ago, so we're all on the lookout for hemlock woolly adelgid in the area, emerald ash borer, and any other forest pests that could be harmful to the watershed, the forests in the watershed.
In other news, well, South High has done it again. The South High Marathon Dance raised more money this year than last year. The total, over $800,000. Now, the 41st annual dance raised money for up to 42 different recipients and organizations in need. Now, we will be at the school tomorrow, and we're going to talk to some of the students. So, we'll have more for you then. Switching from news to weather. After a lot of snow on Friday, how about Friday? Temperatures hovered in the 30s, and guess what? We can expect more snow probably later this week. So let's see how the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thanks, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Sponsor with your first look weather update here on Look TV. Let's take a look. High pressure now filtering in as that low pressure is moving out of the area, although we could see lingering effects towards our area. Now we have to pay attention to this low pressure system and a clear front making its way through the Midwest. That'll be the next weather maker for the overnight hours. Regional temps 20s and teens. As we take a more local view, 22 the overnight low with mainly cloudy skies, so we could see some spots in the upper teens. Northeast wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour could make it feel like the mid-teens. Mostly sunny skies. 42 with that light east wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy and calm winds as you walk out the door. Mid to upper 20s through the 8 a.m. hour. Beyond that, we're going to see temperatures warming up just to the upper 30s with that daily chance of snow. And some of these days we could see some heavy snowfall out of this because we're going to be heading into a weather pattern where we could be seeing system after system that could potentially be nor'easters. So that means we could see some heavy accumulating snow across portions of the Adirondacks into portions of the Capital District. So we'll keep you posted as we move forward in daily winds out of the north beginning Wednesday. And again, highs generally upper 30s to around 40, overnight lows in the mid-20s. That was your weather update here on Look TV. I'm meteorologist Clarence Sponsor. Now I send it back to you, Jesse.
Thanks very much, Clarence. Winter is not over yet. All right, back to the news. Well, last year, remember? There was a proposition to change the form of government in Saratoga Springs, and it was defeated by a margin of just 10 votes out of nearly 9,000 cast. Well, former members of the Saratoga Charter Review Commission then filed a petition for a full hand count of all the ballots. Well, the New York State Supreme Court turned down that request. Now, according to former treasurer of the Review Commission, Gordon Boyd, the vote was too close to ignore. Now, there is talk that the exact same proposition will reappear on the upcoming November ballot. Well, we spoke to Gordon Boyd about this.
The present form of government, the commissioner's form of government, did not get a majority this past election because of the no votes, which now have a margin of 10 over the yes votes on the charter. Among those no votes were an unknown number of votes that wanted a strong mayor form of government, or they wanted wards instead of citywide council people. So, you know, with those, if you take those votes away from the no votes, the yes votes probably prevailed. A new form of government certainly prevailed.
More to come. Up next, I sit down with Sarah Craig. She's the executive director of Cafe Lena in Saratoga. She's here. I talk about an upcoming fundraiser, a really unique one called Invasion. Now, I also sit down with Michelle Madigan, Finance Commissioner for City of Saratoga Springs, and she's here to talk about the issue of parking. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. It's Monday, so we like to look ahead. We've got a really jammed week in and out of the studio. Laura Dorado, the new executive director for the National Dance Museum in Saratoga, is coming in for an interview. We have another installment of our series, A Look at Seniors. Glens Falls High School, they're sending a couple of high school seniors in to talk about gun control and gun violence in the schools. As you know, we're kind of dedicated to wanting to talk to as many people as we can to get all sides of this story, but I think most importantly, to hear from the students themselves. So we've reached out to a lot of schools. And you can contact us, by the way, if you'd like to be part of that interview process. Peter Martin, Commissioner of Public Safety, is coming in this week. And last but not least, SPAC, this past weekend, held their winter ball. You probably saw the interview here on Look Media. Sold out to the walls. Just a great event, and they raised a lot of money for SPAC. All right, tonight on Look TV, it's Beyond the Headlines and Tracks. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.